Hey guys, this is Jon
and Austin,
and welcome to another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. Austin was just saying how he's happy he can talk coming into this, and I think we may have just lost him.
Yeah, I was feeling good, and now all of a sudden my voice is now struggling. So
I heard that. You barely got your name out.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes.
There's a massive frog in my throat now. Yeah. I was fine 2 seconds ago.
All right, so I'll do most of the talking. Nothing that unusual about that.
Yeah.
That's really is how it goes.
I'm just here for my good looks.
Come on.
Wait. I thought that's why I was here.
That's why we keep you behind the camera,
okay.
Patrick. I thought that was obvious.
I'm too attractive. We have to hide it.
Well, and most people are just listening. They're not even seeing anything.
Right.
So we're all here for a good look.
YouTube is the smallest portion.
But speaking of, if you guys are on YouTube or any of those areas where you listen at, please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. So
see, that's why we pay him the big bucks. Exactly. He remembers what we say. We just say things and then forget them. Patrick remembers them. We said at the end of the last podcast, hey, we got to do that at the beginning. And there was not a chance I was thinking of that at all. Okay, a couple quick things. We want to know what other features you guys want to see on Meatgistics. Here are a couple long-term plans we have. And one of these we're not even sure we're going to be able to do. But we are going to get the app. There will be a Meatgistics app. We will use that for three main things. It will occasionally get coupon codes sent out directly to app users, notification of flash sales, and you obviously can use it anytime a post has been made that you're watching, that will update directly on that. So that's one thing that we are doing. Another thing we've talked about doing a lot. Still don't know that it's possible, but I really want there to be a user video submission feature. We've looked at a couple of different ways of doing it, and it is possible. It's just going to obviously have to be the type of thing that's monitored very closely, because I know a few of our users out there probably would want to put on some inappropriate things, to say the least.
There's a few that I might just add to a blacklist from the get-go.
You can't do it. Sorry, we know who you are. You're not allowed.
No, I'm kidding. I think that's what I love about Meatgistics. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there with a really rough side to them. I would say, even myself included at times, I don't. I occasionally throw out a swear word that I try not to, especially now that I have kids at home. I can't say anything. They repeat it. But on Meatgistics, everybody knows, like, hey, this is a family-friendly site. Yep. So even people that, they're going to be a little more rough around the edges, they know what to do, what to expect on Meatgistics. I think if we have a video submission thing out there, I think people will be respectful of what they can and can't post, because people do a good job with it on photos.
Yeah,
so
I would agree that we have very good behavior, but this is a new feature, and I don't know what that would bring out. So just from a reasonable and maybe even a legality standpoint, we have to monitor it. So we would probably do it where it's a submission and then it gets approved somehow like that. But we're still working on that. So let us know if there are other things you think that are reasonable to implement that you'd like to see on Meatgistics. We said it a bunch recently, but I walked into Austin's office one day and I saw his screen and it said 4 unread messages. And I go, there's no way that's true. There's literally, he goes, oh no, yeah, I'm going to get down to 0. And he hit like right click, read or mark all as read or something like that. Mine are 99 right now. And whatever. Like I've lost hope of ever getting back down to 0.
I go through spurts of like, I'll stay kind of up to date on it. And then I don't. And then, how I catch back up is I just click mark all as read. I actually did that this morning before I got out of bed. I was reading Meatgistics on my phone, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. It was the counter was at 99, and I'm just like, mark all as read.
The other day, the counter was at 99, and I had more time to spend on Meatgistics than I had in a long time. When I was done responding and like I had to go on to do other things, I was still at 99. So it's 99 plus significant at some point. I have no idea what it is.
Which I'll say, like, I still try to monitor like my notifications. The unread count, I try when I can, but I do on the notifications, because if people tag me, I at least go look at it. I don't always respond to everything, but then I undid the chat thing where like only certain people could chat with
to
me.
you.
So I
Yep.
opened that back up. And
Yep.
I had somebody reach out last night or this morning, not sure, saying basically they were trying to get a hold of customer service and they couldn't. And so I addressed that with him and then addressed that with our customer service department this morning.
Okay.
Basically, they were having emails go to their junk email folder.
To customer services?
Yeah.
Junk email?
And we weren't monitoring that as closely as we should. So I like Meatgistics just because it's another
avenue.
An avenue for us to connect with customers. And like in that case, like I watch those things that are directed directly to me because in that case, guys having an issue getting a hold of customer service, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna see if Austin knows anything. Gets a hold of me, and we get it taken care of. So.
That's good. I for so long, and I know I've told this story a million times, but I'm going to tell it one more time, and then probably 10 more times later. But when you offered me this job, I didn't think it I never saw it coming what it was. You did, and then a couple years in, you told me, you said, hey, there is going to come a day where you can no longer respond to every Meatgistics comment. And I'm like, you're crazy. That will never happen. And we are 100% there. There's way too many posts. But I trained myself to use the unread as almost as my inbox. I need to retrain myself to use messages as my inbox. Okay. That's a good tip. I will start doing that.
I mean, even the notification things, you can control what
notifications.
You get notified
Sorry,
on.
I meant notifications.
Yeah.
I meant notifications.
But yeah, I feel just to kind of comment on your comments there, like I feel like I'm much better at like looking out farther into the future, kind of seeing where things are going, and you're much better in the daily execution of it all.
Okay,
you do much better on the day-to-day stuff with Meatgistics and week to week, month to month. I don't do as good there. I'm much better going, yeah, this is okay. This is where we're going. This is where we want to get. Like 5 years down the road, this is where we're going to be.
There is you will receive zero pushback on me, on you being better looking down. That's not even up for debate.
You said Austin's better looking?
No, at looking down the road. Why did we give him a microphone back there?
I don't know.
We did take that.
Well, I don't know. I'd like to comment. So yeah, he should have a microphone.
And we were just complimenting him. So
total control back here. I could just rip the cord out of the wall.
Can you mute Jon for a few minutes?
No, but I don't know that I totally agree on the month to month, whatever. But we have very different opinions on what is like in the near future. Like to me, near future is 4 to 5 months. To you, it's like 5 years.
Oh,
because I can't even envision 5 years from now. Like I try in my head and it's just like blank. Nope, there's nothing there.
Yeah. I mean, from my position, like you and I were talking earlier about like what I'm doing day to day and stuff and how like so much of my time is just already preset with meetings and stuff. Like that's my job. That's my world is directing further out because I have you to handle the day to day. I don't need to be in on that.
Yep.
But that's all I do is just continually go, okay, where are we going to be next year? Where are we going to be the year after that? And if there isn't anybody doing that, then we'll still grow. But then when we get to that next pain point, we're going to just collapse.
Yep.
So it takes both. We wouldn't grow without doing what we're doing day to day, but that next pain point would be really painful if we can't look out 2-3 years ahead of time.
Okay, so looking out 2 to 3 years ahead of time, what do you see? Let's just focus on Waltons, not Meatgistics. What do you see as like a pressure point coming up? I mean, we have the biggest warehouse. The size of the one thing that happens, and anytime somebody comes in and I walk them around, especially if they're local, they think the store is Waltons and everything else is another company.
Yeah.
Like they don't realize. We're like, no. And then we walk them to the warehouse. And they're like, what? Where does all this go?
The store is a percent of what we do.
Yep.
Literally like a percent. But I don't know. 2-3 years down the road, I mean, we need a bigger warehouse. We need twice as much space. It's just a matter of if that happens a year from now or 3 years from now. But that's happening. Automation. We've got to have more automation. it needs to be. We do a good job of getting orders out fast now.
Great job of that.
But it's so much manual intervention and manual processes. We have some automation in there, but when we're done with the next warehouse expansion, the level of automation will be insane. Even comparatively to others in the industry, it still won't be much, but comparative for what we have today, it'll be nuts. We're gonna have more like conveyor systems, automated systems there. When something's going down the conveyor line, it's getting read by a camera and a barcode scanner to see what it's doing, where it's going. Order picking is still manual. Someone has to pick an item and put it in a bin, but instead of having like one person like pull an order and then take it to the bursting or packaging station, it'll be, hey, here's a tote coming down the conveyor line, and it's just this person in this area of the warehouse is grabbing one item, putting it in the tote, and it goes down to the next person. So 10 people could be involved in pulling one order.
Ooh. But we see that as a smoother process.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Smoother when you deal with all the automation on the back end. There will be so much just programmatically controlled. Right now, an individual person and user is making the decisions and choices on where should I go in the warehouse, what order should I pull it in. They're guided in a sense of here's bin numbers and here's where you need to go. But that'll change to where it's just, this is what you do. You this is your section. You pull items when it comes along and you put it in the tote that it's there, and then it all is scanned and read. The system automatically knows when it gets to a packaging station. They won't have to scan and do anything else again. Just put it in a box and a label automatically comes out. The level of input from our users there will be a fraction of what it is now. But other than that, some of the international stuff, I still feel bad at times for some of our Canada customers.
Yep.
And how uneasy we make it. That was actually the meeting I was
just in. Okay.
Was talking about some international stuff, and we have, I don't know, probably like 100,000 unique visitors every year from just Canada.
Right.
And we don't have the level of orders out of that we should, just because we don't make it very easy and convenient for those people to place orders online. So that's going to change. We'll set up some better ways for some of our international customers to.
But we're always going to have the problem there with casings and cheese.
Yeah, it depends on where you go. Casings are okay in some areas, and some areas they aren't.
I thought they weren't.
Okay. Collagen is usually, collagen and fibrous are usually safe.
Natural casing. Sorry, yeah.
We've had a few international customers that literally they buy like tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of collagen casings.
Yep, down in like the Caribbean.
Yeah,
yep.
Caribbean, Australia, some different places there. But like natural casings, nah. I probably don't even care about even trying to mess with that. Yeah. Going international, there's if it's super easy, we probably would, but most places it's just not.
Right.
Shipping a raw animal product creates all kinds of issues.
Yep.
So,
yep.
I don't know. Other changes for the next 2-3 years. Like to get better notifications for customers when things are happening. More options there. So if somebody wants a text message instead of an email,
yep.
we can do that. We have that capability now.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of
turning it on.
Yeah. Taking the time to turn it on, work out a process flow for it, and let people manage those subscriptions. It could be just seeing more about their order process. This one, I don't know that it's going to even help a lot. It's almost just, I just think it's cool, so I'm going to do it. But when someone places an order, instead of just going, "Oh, your order shipped," I want them to be able to get notifications if they want it, but at least go to the website and be able to see the history of like, Joe picked this item on your order,
right.
Bob picked this item, and be able to see it in like real time as it's going through the warehouse. Because that's one of the things I think people see as cool from us is when they place an order, and if they hit the queue right, literally from the time they place an order to the time it's being shipped could be less than 5 minutes. Yep. It depends. Sometimes it's longer because of timings on things, but it can go fast. And for people to be able to see when did it get sent to shipping, when did people pull it, when did it get shipped, and then a better native tracking portion once it's actually in UPS's or USPS's possession. Right now, we just send them the tracking number to go to UPS, but have all of that life cycle living on their order history page, I think would be really cool. Some people won't care. Some people will find it as intriguing, but at least helps you know that, hey, my order is it is moving through here. It is going. If it's really fast, great. If not, they can at least see, okay, this is why it's not moving. This item's causing an issue, and better visibility on ship dates on when things are an issue and something's back ordered. But.
Yeah, it might also help. When I was in customer service, we used to get people who place orders and then call in and want to change something. And we eventually got to the point where, like, as soon as I hit this button, it's too late. Like, unless we made a bad mistake, it's too late. And it might help them better understand, like, oh, okay, now I get why I can't make a change because they've already got it boxed up 5 minutes later.
Then, okay. Last thing. Other things I see is we've added a lot of new Waltons products.
Yeah.
But that's going to continue to increase. I want to get to the point, and I think we probably will in the next 2-3 years, where most products that at least our retail customers buy are going to be Waltons branded items. Some of the stuff we do commercially, that's a little harder to do all of that, but the retail side, a lot of it will be Waltons branded. I'd like to even get a lot of our seasonings actually done as Waltons branded seasonings. Okay. We've started a little bit of that with seasoning shakers, but I think it's a matter of time before we start doing that with our actual sausage and jerky seasonings, things from Excalibur. I don't plan on changing anything there. It'll still be Excalibur seasonings, but just a branding point. And then as we add some new things, like probably doing more of our own custom blends. Like my favorite jerky seasoning is our Waltons Bold. Yep. That one is a Waltons custom blend. If you called up Excalibur and you somehow convinced them to sell directly to you, they wouldn't be able to sell it to you because it's our custom blend. Right. So doing more of those things.
Okay. That's all great answers. Do you have anything else, or we go on to Meat Matters? Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Did you see my email from earlier today, which was just the exclamatory?
The urgent one?
Nope, just the yes.
Oh, yeah.
So that put me in such a good mood. I don't even care what happens the rest of the day. I told my guys they can just sit around and browse the internet. I don't care. Like, we're fine. No.
I'm going to bring you back to earth a little bit.
I don't care. I know what it's about.
Wait for another week.
I understand.
You always have to see a pattern there.
I also understand probably what's behind that, but I don't care. I don't care. 6 months ago, how in depth do we want to get about this on the podcast?
I don't care.
Okay.
So we track nothing customers can't hear.
We track certain keywords for search engine optimization on waltonsinc.com. And we have a list of competitors that we track them against. 8 months ago or whatever, we were consistently number one. Like, it was probably 5 or 6 months of us always being number one, to the point where we weren't even really worried about it. I saw it came through. I was like, all right, great. And then all of a sudden we weren't number one anymore. And then all of a sudden we weren't even number two anymore. And then all of a sudden we weren't even number three anymore. And people who had zero business being ahead of us were ahead of us. Now, this also happened right around the time we switched to the new website. And it, for whatever reason, because I beat my head against the wall trying to figure this out, it didn't click what it was. But we've made some changes. We've done some different things. And we are back ahead of everybody else. And I will probably, now it's not been affecting my sleep, but I am much, much happier. Much happier. I was so ecstatic to see that. So,
did you actually sleep last night? Off topic.
Yeah. Not great, but better. The dogs came into the bed around midnight when the lightning came. I could feel Riggins crawl up. And then like 2 minutes later, Brutus doesn't crawl anywhere. He flounced up and the whole bed shakes and it actually sinks a little bit in the middle. So, but yeah, no, I went back to sleep. I slept 20 minutes the night before, like 25.
I just find it so funny that your dogs keep you up like that. Cause like it's worse than kids. Like my son's almost 3. Still, he doesn't ever get up, come bother mom and dad during the night. He won't get out of bed until we go in there and get him. Like, hey, it's time to get up. You need to get up. He is in his bed for at least 12 hours a night.
It's amazing.
Like he goes to bed between 8 and 9 and he wakes up between 8 and 9.
That is a smart kid.
It's crazy.
That is very smart. See, one of the things about not wanting a kid is I was always worried, like I'd seen too many horror movies with kids and like all of a sudden you wake up and your kid's standing at the end of the bed. I'm just going to reach out and kick him. Like, no, what's wrong with you? Get away from me.
I know as a kid, I scared the living crap out of my parents several times. Like I was the kid that any nightmare, anything going on, I'm running in there and mom, dad,
right.
And like, yeah, you're this shadowy figure standing at the edge of the bed. Like, how do I wake him up without getting hit? Are they going to wake up and be scared it's an intruder and punch me? But no, I'm looking forward to that as a parent to see what happens. But it sounds like you have a lot worse time with dogs.
They're terrible.
By the way, side note, Austin scared as a little kid sounds just like Hank Hill. So.
Oh, the voice. Bobby. All right, on to Meat Matters. So we've got a bunch of things, nothing that I actually want to get too in depth on. So it's going to be numerous things, but I don't think anything that's going to be too in depth.
More news, not commentary.
Pretty much. So the first one is Cargill workers sued for unpaid wages during the pandemic. This one kind of interests me because we were talking about this recently. Like, I thought the government was stepping in there. So what has Cargill done with that money?
Good question.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they gave them money to continue paying their employees. Where'd that go?
Yeah. I mean, all of that was like based on time frames and stuff. So it may have been during a certain time and then after they changed or did something. Like I was talking to you yesterday about the COVID pay stuff. Technically, government assistance and requirements for paying people when they're out sick with COVID has expired. We have decided, and we've extended a couple times ourselves, and so we're still covering it, but that's all out of pocket for us. There was a time when people were out sick that, we even got money from the government to pay those people when they were gone. So I'm going to guess that it was probably an issue with the time frames there. There was probably the time where, required by the government, and they covered it, and then at some point it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah,
just something interesting to think about. This is kind of more regional news, but so Maine-made sausages are getting more creative and more popular than ever. Really interesting article from the Press Herald. It's a newspaper up in Maine. But they go through and they talk about how all of a sudden there's been this massive explosion in creativity in sausages. So you used to go to your butcher and you'd get like Italian and maybe like a hot Italian and a regular bratwurst. And now they're starting to see linguiça, all these different things that never used to be even on anybody's radar. One of the quotes from is, not only are sausages selling better than any point in recent memory, according to the business owners I spoke with, an increased demand for patties and links has spurred culinary creativity among butchers and chefs across the entire state. We just have to be careful that the pendulum doesn't flip too far. And that I 100% agree with. We've seen it happen in other industries where people get interested in these like kind of fringe products, and then the whole industry tries to switch to that, and they leave their main customer base behind, and everything comes crashing down. So while it's great that we have all these incredibly diverse seasonings and options available, I mean, there's a reason Willie's is the best seller. There's a reason that we're probably more concerned about keeping that, the Holly Regular, and the Blue Ribbon brat as always in stock, no matter what, as best we can do, than we are with, the fad of the month. Do you know where habanero barbecue snack stick is on our bestsellers list?
In overall seasonings, or do you want to know just in snack
I'd
sticks?
be more interested in overall seasonings.
I can tell you. So while I'm looking it up, a couple thoughts there. One, I don't want to take credit for it entirely, but I feel like companies like us and Excalibur have done a good job at like pushing a lot of that creativity stuff. You see some seasoning companies out there, some of the bigger ones, they don't have as many creative offerings like that. Excalibur has a ton, and we have, I don't know how many hundreds, we have hundreds and hundreds of seasonings and additives in stock. But every year we add weird new flavors, and they always grow. We rarely add something that doesn't work. But the thing to always to remember is what you're saying about the Willys. It always stays like at the top. I was actually telling my wife this the other day. Our Holly regular pork sausage, that's actually custom blend.
Is it really?
That's custom blend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really, we should probably call that Walton's breakfast sausage.
Really should.
Yeah.
But at this point, we may be too late on that train.
Be one. I don't know.
It would have to almost be like co-branded for a while. Like you have to put both labels on the bag.
There'd be ways to deal with it, but that one, we have it in 25 and 50 pound units. Both of those are like in our top 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
We sell an insane amount of that. As you're pulling that up now, I'm guessing it's not in our top 20.
So actually, let me clarify. Holly regular, they are 1 and 2. We sell that much breakfast sausage.
Ridiculous.
Seasoning. It's nuts. My wife is like, people eat that much breakfast sausage? I'm like, yeah,
I eat breakfast sausage a couple of times a month. People are eating it every single day.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't eat breakfast. I never have.
Yeah, I'm not a breakfast eater either. I eat breakfast more for dinner than I do actually eat breakfast.
I would 100% agree with that.
Let's see. I'm flipping through this. Habanero
barbecue. Because I would say that is the kind of trendy seasoning that we brought in the last 7 years that has accelerated the most in sales.
I remember when habanero wasn't you didn't hear it very often, and when you did, it was extremely spicy. Now it's just like they throw habanero around left and right nowadays in advertisements. Crazy.
Yep.
Do you want to guess what number it is?
37.
Dang, you're close. 35.
What
actually surprises me is habanero mango is ahead of it.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Habanero mango is, let me count backwards.
That is
27.
That is actually shocking.
We should probably publish some of this out there. People would probably find it interesting. We do top 10 shakers in the catalog. We might do top 10 sausage and jerky seasonings. I'm not sure, but we should publish a bigger one. I'm not going to publish numbers, but we could publish a
list of bestsellers.
Better list, yeah. Because it would probably encourage people to try some different stuff too. Even the Zan's Dixie.
Yep.
There's probably not, that's a bigger commercial one.
Sure.
A lot of commercial customers are making that, but a lot of home guys would probably look at it and go, Zan's Dixie, what is that? Sure, I'll try it. It's that popular. Yep. Might as well.
Other than the Holly, which is undisputedly in my mind the best, H110C is number 2. My favorite number 3 breakfast sausage is taking the Hatch green chili and making breakfast sausage out of that. It's great. I love it. Yes, it's not a classic breakfast sausage, but it works great in a breakfast patty.
You should do a 50-50 split of that with Holly, so you still get the breakfast sausage flavor to it, but then you get the Hatch green chili.
Well, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow, I ground some pork today with that test I told you about.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we're gonna make our what do we have a name for it yet, Patrick? Our super breakfast sausage.
Oh, gee, I have no idea.
The caffeine.
Oh, well, we'll come up with it right now.
Okay.
What? I mean, it's caffeine brat with.
But it's not a brat. Yeah. It's going to be a breakfast sausage because you eat it first thing in the morning. You get all the caffeine you need and your protein. And fat. I mean, can't call it like a monster.
Well,
Yeah, I was just thinking
Right,
of like different
I know.
brand name stuff.
Yeah.
Like you either come up with a fancy name for it or you just call it like energy brats.
sausage. Yeah. Something like that. So we'll try and come up with something better than that. But we're going to do that tomorrow. Okay. On to the next one. FDA and USDA are hosting cybersecurity summits based around meat packers. I find that really interesting, and I have a strong suspicion that this is based around, actually, it's in the article. It says, ongoing ransomware attacks affecting the food and agriculture sectors demonstrate the importance of cybersecurity as an element of supply chain security. So great. I love that they're doing that. I'm sure there's all sorts of attacks and threats that happen daily that we don't know about.
Yeah,
And
for every one that you hear in the news, there's a dozen that happened you didn't hear about.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we have pretty much taxed our food supply chain as much as I think it can take. I'm sure that is a vector of attack that adversaries are looking at. So good to see. Next one is an Oregon beef supplier. And I was surprised by this initially, but an Oregon beef supplier was sued $2.7 million for an E. coli outbreak. So they were providing all of the beef to a chain of grocery stores. That chain of grocery stores then recalled all of that beef and did not have any ground beef available for 3 months. I'm not sure how much of that is really on. So the store is trying to recoup all of those losses.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of that is on the beef supplier. 100%, like what they sent them. Yes, they should absolutely get all of that money back. But trying to sue them for lost product because you didn't have like a backup plan or something else you were comfortable going to, I don't know how valid that is.
Well, and I think the catch here is that they're getting sued for negligence. When you introduce negligence into it, that means that something was willfully, purposely done. So it's not just if someone just had an E. coli outbreak and then they took care of it, they addressed the recall, they played by the book. I mean, there wouldn't be any potential. Well, I guess you can sue anybody for anything, but there shouldn't be a potential lawsuit there if you're doing things the way you should. If negligence is in here, they're saying you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and most likely, I'm going to guess that they're going to allege that someone at the company knew what was supposed to happen and they purposely didn't do it that way. They tried to cut corners and did something else. So negligence is what I think is the key in that article.
So you're extrapolating all of that out of just that word negligence.
Yeah, just kind of an example.
Right, because none of that is in the article.
Yeah. It's just when you hear the word negligence, you know there's something more malicious to it than just, oh crap, we had an E. coli outbreak, let's take care of it.
Disagree. I would say that they're claiming that, like, hey, you were negligent in this. That doesn't mean that the beef processor actually did anything like that.
True. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty,
Yeah.
Or sometimes feels like guilty until proven innocent.
It does.
But, in theory, yeah, I mean, they still have to prove it, but they wouldn't sue if they didn't have something to back it up. It may not be enough. Who knows?
People sue all the time without anything to back.
Well, they think they have something to back it up.
Or they have a lawyer who says, hey, try this.
True.
Oh.
But that's why it's got to go through a lawsuit, and they don't just get to walk in and go, you were negligent, give us money. They have to go through the courts for someone to
Once
actually
again,
go.
You have to go like, oh, I'm not going to be able to remember which book it is. Is it one of Shakespeare's huge plays? The two main characters are talking about how they can improve society. And they say we could start by killing all the lawyers. That would be a good first. Falstaff? I can't remember who it was.
There's so many things. I won't get too far off here. There's so many things you can improve. And I apologize if there's a lawyer or accountant listening to this,
I definitely don't.
that you could improve by getting rid of so many laws and regulations, and you would reduce the amount of lawyers and accountants that we all have to pay.
Who then could find other employment.
The problem would be those people would have to find other employment.
They're clearly smart people. They would find something.
Yeah, but you could make so many things easier in the business world. You would reduce prices.
Yep.
Like it's insane. Like we're not a huge company. We're definitely a small business, family owned. But we spend a lot of money on lawyers and accountants that we, in my opinion, don't really need to.
Right.
But
do need to because of the way it is.
We have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We're both, I think you're, not to get too off track here, but we're both fairly strong free market capitalist type people. We differ fairly vastly past that, but on that issue, I think we're both like as little regulation as possible.
Yeah, I just want freedom.
I think we'll talk later.
We're gonna get down way too far of a rabbit hole
and
here.
The line about lawyers is from William Shakespeare's Henry VI, Part 2, Act 4.
Does it say who says it?
Yeah, no, it's Dick the Butcher.
That's not how isn't that funny how, I mean, I remember that quote for two reasons. One, I read it in high school, and two, it's referenced in another book that I read, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So it's stuck in my mind.
You probably don't remember it because you weren't in high school, but 40 years ago. So
that's not nice. That was not nice. That was not nice. All right. Next article from Forbes. Something is really wrong at Beyond Meat, according to this investor. Just a couple of quick things I want to talk about here. If this will catch up. The company's shares, of which are down 25% so far this year, blamed the impact of COVID Delta variant and severe weather for slowing growth. It's just COVID's everyone's favorite whipping boy right now. And yes, absolutely. It's that affected shipping, which then has affected everything. But like, I'm sorry, I don't see how the Delta variant caused your sales to go down that drastically.
No, unless you're in the restaurant business, almost everything food related is up.
Yep.
Restaurants are at least getting better. From some of the stats I've seen, restaurants are maybe not exactly where they were pre-COVID, but they're okay compared to where they were in the middle of COVID. But everything else food related is up.
Yep.
I mean, we've had an insane ride the last 2 years. And you would think that Beyond Meat would be in that same ride because meat consumption's gone crazy. But
so this was something that was interesting to me. It's another quote from the article. It says, the company has virtually no margin because it sells its products at a loss in a bid to secure shelf space and establish brand recognition. He says, arguing that Beyond doesn't have any kind of competitive advantage. So they've been squeezed out. So once their prices start having to climb because they're going to need to, because their strategy failed, they're out.
It's already like expensive too. It's
going to get more.
I mean, it's not.
It's like $8.99 a pound.
Yeah,
or it used to be. I think it's more than that now. But
yeah, it's not like absolutely horrible. It's not like you're paying $50 a pound and something where no one would ever buy. But I mean, it's not ground beef or even ground turkey or ground chicken's usually more expensive than beef at times. But I mean, they're 2-3 times as much, and I don't think people will pay that much more for what's supposed to be a substitute product.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So this is an article from CNN. Talks about the cost of meat increased 12.6 between September 2020 and September 2021, according to the unadjusted data from Consumer Price Index. Pork rose 12.7, poultry 6.1, with overall beef prices climbing 17.6. Beef roasts, the category that brisket falls in, went up 20.8 in the last year. That dovetails into sort of another article talking about how a lot of barbecue places are they're getting hit the hardest and they're just not offering brisket anymore. That kind of stinks because you go to a barbecue joint, one of the things you're going to want to see on that menu is brisket. I mean, that's kind of like the big boy in the world. So whatever. I mean, what can you do? There's another thing. I don't know if you're looking at the OneNote, but this article, I don't want to go through everything, but there's this 20 foods you didn't know you can make on the grill. And I went through it, and it was literally like they just went through our Will It barbecue. And
really?
Every single thing on there is something we've done in one way or another. Not every single one of them was a Will It barbecue, but every single one of them except for rice was something we've done. So that made me laugh. Also, I've seen a commercial a lot, and I do need to do more work on this. But I've seen a commercial a lot recently about chicken being bathed in chlorine and how this would be illegal in Europe. First of all, literally nothing makes me care less about what you're saying when you say this wouldn't be allowed in Europe. I don't give a toss what they do over there. Our eggs wouldn't be sellable there. Theirs wouldn't be sellable here. So that is literally like you're saying nothing when you say that. But I mean, I just don't understand what they're going for there. I think what they're trying to imply is that like the whole chicken is actually like bathed in chlorine, I guess is what they're going for, when that is not the case. It's the processed parts that are being dipped in chlorine to kill any type of, they're taking the chicken and going, oh.
It would probably shock a lot of people what else is done in the meat industry then, because there's all kinds of dips and additives and stuff that you put in meat, or you dip a carcass in, or just a cut to prevent mold, bacteria, mold, anything there, because you want a safe product. If you didn't do any of that, there would be a lot more recalls for E. coli or salmonella or listeria, whatever. They have to do a lot of that at times, just because that's what is the USDA says you need to do this to prevent E. coli. And so, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know how it works, but you say chlorine, like, to me, that wouldn't really bother me, because the water that I get sent to my house is chlorinated. Yep. It's not as heavy as a pool is, right? But I also go swimming in pools, and I've gulped down chlorine from a pool on accident, probably half pee and half water at that point. But it's I don't see it as stuff like that. It's not going to kill you. No. I do a lot worse things that is going to kill me. Chewing tobacco, probably 1,000 times worse than whatever chlorine dipped chicken is going to be. If you smoke, if you chew, if you drink, if you do anything like that, you're putting toxins in your body. I don't necessarily have a problem with it because I do it. Yeah. But then we look at other stuff and it's like, oh, we can't do anything. So I feel like it's kind of hypocritical because we put a lot of stuff in our body that's bad.
I have a feeling this is probably, who is behind this is probably the cell grown or like soy-based meat replacement industry. Just, have you ever seen there's a documentary on Amazon Prime called Pandora's Box, and it's about nuclear energy, and how initially, like the initial push that came out against nuclear energy was funded by coal. And the people who were out there like protesting had no idea that they were being funded by the coal industry. So I have a feeling it's probably something similar to that.
That's nice.
In Wichita here, some 40 meat cutters from Texas Roadhouse assembled and had a competition on who could most quickly, most appealingly, and with the least loss cut their steaks for Texas Roadhouse.
As soon as you said that, the meat cutters assembled, I have a picture of Ron Burgundy in my mind.
They all show up like this.
News team, assemble.
They've all got huge cleavers. But no, I think that's a pretty cool thing that they get together and kind of not only compete, but also share skills, show each other how to do it. And obviously, it's just interesting that I was in Wichita. I don't know how much you're going to want me to talk about this, so I'll just go ahead real quick. Animal rebellion, scale government building in the UK. I hope they all fall off. And it'd be better if there were sharks or lions down below where they fall off into. I don't get the type of person who thinks that the way to get people on your side is to inconvenience the mass public. Same thing with the Insulate Britain people who are gluing themselves to the road.
What?
Gluing themselves to the road.
That's an interesting way to do it.
There's one guy who his mom had a stroke. He was trying to get her to the hospital. It took him 6 hours to get him to the hospital. And the doctor said if you had gotten them here within like a reasonable amount of time, the damage would have been minimal. She's paralyzed. So
that sucks.
Don't get on the road to make a point. Get on the internet. Make better arguments, I guess. And then China apparently is investing enormously into cell-grown meat. Not terribly surprised by that.
I mean, they have more people than any other country in the world.
Mhm.
I mean, if we ever have an issue with food supply, they're going to be the first ones that hurt.
Yep.
So they've got to be on the forefront of what else can we do to have more food.
Yep. Just from a necessity standpoint, USDA is also now investing in lab-grown meat. So pretty interesting. I think it is going to continue here for a little while. As we've talked about, I'm not good at looking down the road. I don't see how this ever replaces beef, but definitely something we have to keep an eye on. So,
wonder what this could be like.
oh, you're looking for like a correlation?
Yeah. What other big fads and trends in the food industry have we seen in the last 20 years? I'm just trying to think, what else could it compare to, see the different results on. I mean, it could.
I mean, the only one I can think of is the one that's starting to falter, which is the soy-based.
Yeah, I think it could also kind of be kind of like a gluten-free thing. Like, I knew a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat gluten-free,"
Yeah,
and it kind of faded away. It's still there. I mean, people still do it, but it's food trends come and go. I mean, when did like the Atkins diet?
that's what I was just thinking.
First came out, and
Yeah,
that was
like
huge.
early 2000s.
But there's still people that do it,
Mhm.
but it's not like
Nothing
the
like
main.
it was.
It's not the mainstream
Right.
51% plus.
Yep.
I think it's something it's going to stick around, and I think it is a big enough deal that it's always going to be there. They want it to be the mainstream option, the only option.
Yep.
I don't think it'll get to that, but it will. I think it'll forever retain a pretty good chunk of popularity, though.
Yeah, I still I am legitimately haunted by what we talked about last time. That guy saying eventually a steak will be like a glass of champagne to be enjoyed occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I ate 4 steaks this week in protest of that. So my grill has gotten a good workout. All right, that's all I got. You got anything you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right.
That's it.
I'm going to be on the On the Wing podcast. I'm recording that later today. That's Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever thing. I don't know when it's going to be released, but when it is, we'll let everybody know. So, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
And we don't have to do the outro because Patrick did it in the intro.
Maybe we should do it twice.
No, once is enough.
Make
All
sure you like, comment, subscribe, everybody. We'll check you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltonsinc.com. And to get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.